We're going back to Julia Cameron's It's Never Too Late to Begin Again. This chapter is titled Reigniting a Sense of Freedom, which I think is pretty exciting sounding. I'm ready to reignite a sense of freedom. How about you? So, Julia Cameron has these various exercises that you do over the course of this book, which, as I mentioned in an earlier video, is actually more like a program than a book because you have certain pieces of homework and there's structure to it. So one of the things that she has in this is a thing called the memoir, and you start on week 1 doing a memoir of your age 0 to 5 years old. And you have to remember what was your favorite toy, what was your favorite book, where did you live, just little bits and pieces of memory. And of course, between 0 and 5, I have so few memories that it's a pretty sparse journal entry. But week 2 is where the rubber hits the road, I suppose, because we start talking about ages 5 or ages 6 to 10. There's a lot of stuff going on in ages 6 to 10. I haven't written about it yet, I must admit. But even sitting here thinking about it, I can tell you there was a lot of stuff going on in my life ages 6 to 10. I moved from Bartlesville to Houston and from Houston to Midland during those years. So there was a lot going on in my life for sure. Because this book is written for people who are over 50, it's written for people who are in retirement and helping them rediscover their creativity. And one of the things she mentions is this sudden independence that you have. And I think that probably sounds kind of funny because once you become an adult, you're independent, right? Well, not exactly. Especially if you have kids, then you become tethered to your kids. You have a job, you're tethered to your job. When you retire, things change pretty suddenly. You retire from your job, in most cases. Some people retire from parenting because their kids have left the nest. And there are all these things that you're letting go of that filled your life with activity before, and suddenly you're not filling your life with activity. She calls this sudden independence. And what that means is you're free to do what you want to do. You're free. It's that time in your life that you've been looking forward to where you say, oh, I'm going to travel. I'm going to learn to cook Asian food. I'm going to work out. all this stuff that you say you're going to do. She continues to mention artist dates, which is where you take yourself out by yourself, not with anybody else, and you go on a sort of date with yourself. You could go anywhere you want. You could go to the movies. You can go see a play. You can go to a junk store. I mean, you could go anywhere you want. You could go to Target if you feel so moved. But she really encourages you to use your morning pages, which is another part of the program. That's where you write 3 pages of free writing every morning after you get up. As soon as you can get started, you write 3 pages of whatever's in your head. And out of that, sometimes some ideas come for what kind of artist dates you could go on. For instance, for whatever reason this morning, ice skating popped up for me. I haven't been ice skating. I don't think I've been ice skating since I was in junior high. So I have no idea what that's about. I'm not sure my ankles could take it, but I don't know. Maybe I need to go take myself ice skating. We'll see. Doesn't sound like that much fun to me, but could be very surprising. Okay, further into week 2, she has a conversation about time and how we have this abundance of time now and not any idea how to fill it. Part of the chapter is called Clearing a Path. This speaks to me. It speaks to me. The creative potential awaiting us in our homes, decorating, furniture making, needlework, gardening. These are not the things that I do. And now that we are home with time to experience and embrace our environment, it does us good to take care of our space. Then she goes into these couple of paragraphs around Marie Kondo, who you may know as the Spark Joy Lady, about organizing your home. In here she says, decluttering and tidying powerhouse Marie Kondo speaks of keeping only those items that spark joy. I don't know why you'd put quotes around that. Oh, maybe because that's what she says. in our homes and discarding the rest. While this perhaps sounds radical at first, the minimalist idea of not only taking stock of everything we own, but also keeping only those items that serve us is very powerful indeed. So she talks about decluttering and creating space in your home so that you can create something new, and also identifying those things that you truly love and taking them out of those dark spaces in your storage area in the attic and showing them off or enjoying them, taking pictures of them. If you let them go, make sure you have some sort of record of them that will bring you joy. And then acknowledge accomplishments from your past, which you inevitably come across when you start going through those boxes that are in the attic. I keep mentioning the boxes in my attic. Perhaps I should address those. She says, many of us routinely dismiss our own accomplishments, and this is why working with our own memoir is so vital to moving forward as complete people in touch with our own stories. So she kind of combines memoiring along with decluttering as a means of accessing that creative self that's hidden in there somewhere behind all of your stuff and all of your experiences. Then she has these 2 tasks right before a section of the chapter that talks about boredom. And the first task is about time and space. And she talks about sitting in a space in your home where you're generally too busy to notice what's around you, and to notice what's around you. What do you love? What do you not like so much? How would you change it? It's an interesting exercise, and it's on page 34. Also on page 34 is a task called 20 minutes. Now, this is something any of us can do anytime, but it is set a timer for 20 minutes and go into any space in your home where you feel like it's cluttered, and spending 20 minutes until the timer goes off, decluttering that space. If you want to go longer at the end of your 20 minutes, you certainly may. But the whole point of the exercise is to give yourself a time limit so that you don't feel sucked in like you have to do this until it's done. Just do 20 minutes worth. That will inspire you, and you can keep moving forward. Then there's a whole section, lots and lots and lots, that talks about boredom and where it comes from and how to attack it. And there's some really good information in there. I'm not going to read the chapter to you because it's there in the book. You can get it at the library and read it yourself. Then finally, she suggests selecting one memory and writing about it. Re-enter your childhood world and think about that memory. What are the kinds of things that you did as a child to combat boredom? Because as children, we were bored. She gives a list of things that children do to combat boredom, and they're pretty good at it. Putting on a puppet show, building a sandcastle, creating a pots and pans band, long conversations with imaginary friends, or playing dress up. I mean, I don't remember being bored, but I remember my mom saying to me, if you're bored, that means you're boring. So I've held on to that, and I definitely avoid being bored. Unfortunately, I may be a little too not bored. That's just my way. Okay, and then, of course, the long conversation about routine, which is pretty useful, talking about how you can use routine to support your forward momentum. And the very last task, did I say that about the previous task? Well, this is the very last task, I promise. This is the last task of chapter 2, the relief of routine. And in here they say, number 1 to 5, then finish the following sentence. I would be relieved if I made time to, then you fill in the blank. I said things like exercise, meditate, journal, walk with Charlie and George, my husband and my dog, or walk alone, and walk alone. So those are the 5 things that I said I would be relieved if I made time to. And notice she says made time to and not had time to. She's putting the onus on you to make the time to do these things. And it's your life, right? Nobody else can tell you how to live it. We have voices in our head that are telling us all the time, this is how you live your life. Shut up, Backseat Betty. Backseat Betty has all kinds of opinions about how you're living your life, but it's not Backseat Betty's life. It's your life. You get to decide. So take control. Get yourself in the driver's seat. Give Backseat Betty the iPad and tell her, Go to town. Leave me alone. I'm driving. I think I'm going to go back to the book by the design school guys next time we meet. This is day 8, and we'll have day 9 next. If you noticed, I'm not doing it every day because I was doing that for a little while, but it's a little overwhelming to go through this self-improvement stuff on a daily basis. I might look at it myself, but I need time to think about it before I make a video. So I hope you got something out of this one, and if you are reading another self-help book, let me know. Write a comment, tell me what book you're reading, what you find interesting. After I do these 3 books, I may continue and do another book. I'm looking at Marie Kondo's book, but I'm a little afraid of it because I'd have to organize my home. But I like the idea of sparking joy, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and it helps even more if you push the little bell over there. Push the little bell, let me know that you want more of these. And thanks for watching.